Hey everyone, welcome to another binging Bridgerton reading vlog. And today we're starting an offer from a gentleman. Sorry the light's a little weird, but this is just a vlog clip, so I'm going to try not to get as obsessive as I do with the lighting. Couple things that I gotta share today. I didn't actually started this last night. I've only read 15 pages, but I didn't put on makeup yesterday and I wasn't feeling the camera life because I had a migraine hit me so painfully. Oh God, it hit so painfully that I just said F it to the day. But thankfully I feel much better, and we can't do that today because I have an oral surgery coming up on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. And I do not know what state my face will be in. I'm sure you will see a clip of me from that because I will still film for this vlog. But because to stay at my pace of being a week ahead of the readathon, I will need to finish this. And I'm sure I'll be doing a lot of reading because I'm not going to be working for the 2 days. I'm taking off Thursday and Friday and hoping that I heal up good enough over those 4 days to go back to work on Monday. And then we only have 3 days, and then it's Thanksgiving. So, yeah. But anyway, really excited. Tonight is, since it's a Tuesday, it means it's readathon live tonight. And tonight is on Jess's channel, which I'm really excited for. This is the first one she's hosted. I'm also a little nervous because I have a potty mouth and I don't want to be naughty on Jess's channel because I know she has her students watch it. Well, she doesn't have them. They do. So I'm going to be a good girl. Not. But I'm really excited to be on there. I love Jess. And one of the things that's been awesome about this year is getting closer with people. And Jess is someone that I mostly message with her on Instagram. But I love talking with her. So Jess, at whatever point you're watching this, because I know from your notes that you do, I love you and cherish you, and I'm so thankful for everything that you do for the romance community. I can't imagine what it was like to kind of be the only one, because I feel like you were the only one for a while. And anyway, this is turning into a Jess fangirl, and that's not what it's supposed to be, and the light is coming to ruin what's happening here. Maybe if I turn it a little bit. There we go. But anyway, so I'll be honest. In my reread 2 years ago, this was my least favorite one because Benedict kind of annoys me. So, but however, I love Sophie. And whereas I feel like I just really love Sophie. This is kind of a Cinderella retelling. We have Sophie, who the first page, she has such amazing, Julia Quinn has such amazing starting lines for her books. Like this one says, everyone knew Sophie Beckett was a bastard. So we have Sophie, who is with her father, but she is a bastard, but she's living with him as his ward. Like he's taking care of her. And then he gets married to a woman who has 2 daughters. Surprise, surprise, because it's a Cinderella retelling. And the mother basically says to her, I don't want to see you because you're a bastard and you remind me that your father had indiscretions before, even though she wasn't with his father when that happened. So it's not like the dude cheated on this lady to have her, but still she's like, you're a bastard and you shouldn't even live here, but you do, and even though you do, I don't want to see you. So Sophie is treated really horribly. And then when the father dies, he does make it a part of his will that unless you care for her, that the woman doesn't get any of the money. So her stepmother, Araminta, she will only get £2,000 a year if she doesn't take care of Sophie, but she'll get £6,000 a year if she does take care of Sophie. And so it's a really hard setup for Sophie, and I'm not gonna I know that you'll have been spoiled by the time you read this whole vlog, but I won't spoil it in this point of the vlog, where that woman is obviously keeping some things from Sophie. And then we start the first chapter, and we're told about the two Bridgerton brothers, although we're not counting Gregory because he's still only 14, and you cougars need to back off, as Lady Whistledown would say. This book is also taking place a year after the previous, pretty much exactly the same time. Like they start at like the beginning of the season-ish each year. So the first one was 13, then the Viscount Who Loved Me was 14, and this one is in May of 1815. And Benedict and Colin, all the people are coming for him. They're all coming for him. So, yeah, we are, the only thing I've really written so far is like the sisters are calling for her to help them get ready. So it's very Cinderella, like even wrote, that was my notice. I was like, Cinderella, Cinderella. So yeah, in this book, I know that I love Sophie. It's Benedict who really irks me. So we'll see how I feel this time around. I was listening to one of the reviews of this already that Learning the Tropes did. And I was like, yeah, Benedict's my least favorite brother. And that's a bummer, but you know what? They can't all be as awesome as Anthony or as, you know, sweet as Colin. Like, it's just, you know, there's different levels. But yeah, so that's where we're at. That is, I hope to make it through this one, a good chunk of it tonight. I'm planning to read this one on the live. The other historical I'm reading is I'm trying to make my way through Eva Lee. Because Zoe Archer, who writes as Eva Lee, is going to be on our live show for My Fake Rake. And I just can't believe that she's going to be on the Rake Appreciation Society. Just, wow, like, I'm so pumped for it. Like, I'm so pumped for it. So, we will be back with more of this. Bye. Hey, everybody. So, weird clip time, but it is the night before. Whoa. Oh boy. Maybe we should just, how does it look when I do that? Oh my gosh. I hate my life right now. Okay, this is a weird weird clip that we're getting, but it's the night before my surgery. My friend's gonna be over soon. Maybe I can hold you this way and that's better. Yeah, that's a little better. My friend's going to be over soon. She's spending the night and then is going to take me in for my dental surgery. I will film clips afterwards, obviously, but I just don't know how intense it's going to be. So I'm filming clip before, but I wanted to film an update for my Bridgerton vlog first. First off, I have to show off the cutest book sleeves. I ordered a couple of them are for Christmas presents, but a couple are for me because I wanted these ones with the buttons on them. And so here's one of them. It's so cute. And then I also got one that is just a regular plaid. They're so cute. Like, and they have the little buttons to hold it in. And they're extra squishy, extra lovely. So in this one, I have an offer from a gentleman. So I just wanted to do a quick check-in. I mostly just did some reading last night during the live show, which was really fun. It was on Jess's channel. Had a great time. I'm about 50 pages in. We're still in the middle of the ball scene, where Colin is, not Colin. We do see Colin, where Benedict and Sophie are kind of having a love at first sight / like Prince Charming and Cinderella moment. And it's just very romantic. And Sophie's so happy because she's getting a night away from her torturer. And it's all just very sweet. And I know that in past I've like give this book a harsh rating, but I'm really trying to go in. Each time I do a reread, you know, I'm doing it with love because this is still a Bridgerton book and there are always such like great issues that get handled in them. And I don't read too many books where like the female is the bastard, like just being honest. I mean, I've read a couple of them, but it's usually a male. And so then that male has like an inferiority complex, or he really has to prove that he's better than his father's legitimate children, or, you know, the world looks down on him because of one, but he can pull himself up by his bootstraps in the business world, if not. And so seeing Sophie as a bastard and all of her power is taken away from her by this stepmother. Her father didn't make careful enough attention to if she'd be taken care of or not. It's all just very sad. And so the reason that I think that I give Benedict such a hard time is that I love Sophie so much, and she's such a strong woman. To have someone like Benedict try to like put her in a place, it gets very frustrating for me. And we're not even there yet. I know. But having read this book so many times, like, that is the mindset I'm going into this book with. So to try to shake that from me, it's a hard thing to do because I'm irritated with him before we've even gotten to things. So I really don't want to be that way, but it's hard because I think in a lot of ways that Benedict doesn't deserve Sophie, and I don't feel like he grovels enough. I don't feel like Julia Quinn has any of these guys grovel enough in some sense, but I love grovel and I love it to hurt. So there's that. But anyway, my friend will be here in like an hour or so. So I'm actually organizing some things because I don't know how good I'll feel tomorrow. So getting my videos set to upload, the ones that do, because if you don't know, my members all get access to my videos ahead of time. And so I never like schedule my videos out super far ahead anymore. Like I make them, get their metadata in, everything, upload them, and then put them as unlisted in a special playlist for my members who get to view it. And then the night before I'll put one live, I take it off of unlisted and schedule it. There's supposed to be an add-in called like TubeBuddy that you can use to do this, but right now it's not that big of a deal because I'm pretty much obsessive with my YouTube anyway. So I kind of can grab it whenever, you know, I can do that from my phone. It's not a big deal. I already have the ads set up to turn back on, so it's not a big deal. But anyway, yeah, so I'm organizing a few things, and I'm really excited. I'm going to keep going with this. I did have a disappointment. I ordered another copy of An Offer from a Gentleman, looking for one with a back cover. Didn't find one. I got another, although it is a very good condition. So I'll probably take the outside sleeve from that one and put it onto this one. Still on the hunt for 3 of the books I still need a back for, and it's for Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, On the Way to the Wedding, and An Offer from a Gentleman. I still don't have step backs for them. In fact, for Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, I don't even have the paper, or no, An Offer from a Gentleman, I don't even have the paperback with a step back in it. So those are some that I am on the hunt for, and I will hopefully eventually find them. But I just look for it whenever I can, and eventually I'll find it. Like, it's fun that it takes a little bit of work to find, but it's also, I really want it. So, but anyway, I'll check back in with you, and I'll probably have a swollen face next time. I don't know how bad it will be, but I'm excited to get it done, actually, and to get the implant that I need so that I don't have this ugly gap anymore. I know you guys don't always notice it, but like I notice it, and it makes me kind of self-conscious. So it's something that I can fix, and it's easy, and it's, you know, not that big of a deal. So I'm excited to do that. But anyway, I will check in with you soon. Hey everybody, as promised, here is my check-in clip from after my surgery. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to try not to talk too much or open my mouth too wide because things are feeling okay. But, like, if I open my jaw too wide, kind of hurts. Obviously, you can tell. Pretty swelled up right here. Giving me flashbacks to before I lost a bunch of weight. But I've already taken, like, I went back to sleep for like 5 hours. And so now I just had a little bit of applesauce and mushy blueberries for lunch, which was very tasty. I don't eat applesauce very much. If I do, it's in like a sucky pouch. And I bought like a jar of applesauce since I can't suck on anything for a while, which is a bummer. Straws just make your life so much easier, don't they? Straws are great. So, I won't like show you anything nasty at all, but I'm really excited for the replacement, they were able to lay the base for the implant. So that feels super weird right now, because the weirdest feeling thing is obviously all the spaces in my mouth, but also they put in quite a few stitches, and the stitches just, they feel like you have food in your teeth, so I have to remind myself, don't pick at those. Although she did say that as like swelling happens, some of the stitches may just like dissolve out, and that's okay, but I'm not going to hasten that to happen. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to get graphic with this because I don't really care to. But I'm feeling pretty good. I just had I have one of those bean, it's corn bag. I don't know if I've ever used that. But you can make it hot or cold, and in anticipation for today, I had it in the freezer overnight. So when I took my nap, I had it like curved around my neck here. My neck I'm feeling self-conscious about my neck right now, but whatever. So I kind of just slept with it, and that felt really good. And so, none of the pain meds have like wore off. In fact, it feels like better than it did when I was falling asleep, because the one set that they gave me, the Novocaine, was wearing off. And then I had to take because I have hard drugs that I'm taking right now. I won't list them just in case that randomly is a trigger for somebody. Didn't think about that, but so I was really sore when I was trying to fall asleep right away, because I just didn't know how I was gonna be. But for being on some of the harder stuff, I feel pretty awake right now. I was gonna go back to sleep for a little while, but it's 2 o'clock and I'm not really tired, so I'm going to keep reading. I ended up getting to page 100 last night, so I thought I would talk a little bit about where I was at, because I still want to finish this by Sunday so that I can get the next vlog up, get this vlog up to you. So where are we at? Well, we've had the time jump, which means Sophie made it back home from the ball. It was horrible. She had to leave, and she left Colin, or not Colin, I want to call him Colin, left Benedict with her glove, which was initialed with her great-grandmother's initials. And so he goes to Violet to ask for help and figures out that it's a penwood. And so then he goes to visit, and the stepmother has Sophie in the most manipulative fucking thing ever, guys. So manipulative. She tells Sophie to tell Rosamond, is it Rosamond or Posey? I think it's Posey, to lock her in the closet. So not only does the lady not do it herself, but she tells Sophie to tell someone else to lock her in a closet until otherwise. What a fucking bitch. I hate the stepmother in here. I hate her so much. The evilest evil ever. And so that happens, and Benedict quickly realizes that it's neither of them. But all of his questions lead Araminta to realize that Sophie went to the ball. So she kicks Sophie out and says, "You're going to be gone by the end of the day, and I'm not going to send you with anything." And so Sophie does, but she steals some shoe clips before she leaves. And even though they are fake, because Araminta is a cheapskate, she's able to get a little bit of money for them. And then we skip 2 years of time, and there's actually a part 2. And so far, this is the first one of the books where we have different parts set up, but it definitely needs it, because we have a 2-year time jump, which a couple things. This is our first really large time jump in the series. We will have another one after this one. I won't tell you how much or anything, but we will have another time jump coming up. But we get kind of a reset, and Lady Whistledown is saying nobody's been married in 3 full years, so no one's got married since Kate and Anthony. And so in my book, I rewrote down everyone's ages, because I want to be aware of everyone's ages. And then Benedict is just bored with his life. He's never found anyone who entrances him as much as that woman at the ball. And Sophie has just been trying to get by. Like, she's been a maid at different places. She's tried to be a governess, but she's too pretty, which makes a lot of ladies jealous, which is a big fear. It's a big fear to make ladies jealous that way, right? It's not fair, but it's true. So, but then there's this house party that's happening. She's a maid. She ends up being a maid at this one house, and it's a good family until the son comes home from school, and he throws a big party, and him and his friends start harassing Sophie. And so the part that I'm at right now is when Benedict just basically got her fired, but also saved her from being raped, and is like, I'll find you a job then, I'll take you. So lots of things of seeing Benedict be heroic. And I did write in the notes, I was like, God, he starts out so great. Like, I love Benedict in this moment. But I know where he's going to end up. And again, like I've said, I'm trying to keep an open mind. Because, man, he seems like such a hero. He seems like such a dreamboat. That this woman he doesn't even know, he like sees them assaulting her, and it's like he sighs and he's like, really, guys, do you need to be doing this in front of me? Like, you know, he's like, why? I have too many sisters and I love women too well to let you treat this one like it. And he's like, if it was okay with her, she would say so. Ma'am, would you like to be raped by these three men? So I get starry eyes for Benedict. He's amazing. So maybe I can stay that way. We'll see. Maybe the drugs will affect my brain and I'll love Benedict. Who knows? All right, that's enough of this clip. Gosh, I'm so hungry. Applesauce is not enough, but I don't want to overdo it. I have a lot of soups and yogurts that I purchased in anticipation of this, but I do not want to eat them. But that's okay. We're good. I'm alive. It's over, because I'm a believer that anticipation is a big part of the problem. But we'll see how much I swell up. This is only the first day. I'm going to try really hard to keep the swelling down. I have my ice packs like re-cooling. I may go out and buy another one later, but I don't really want to leave the house. But yeah. All right. Peace out. Hi. Time for another check-in clip. So with a couple things. So it is Saturday morning. Doing pretty good. One side's a little more swelled than the other, but honestly, feeling pretty good. I was kind of sore when I woke up this morning just because I'd went like 9 hours without any pain pills, so I was a little tender this morning, but we're doing good. I put on makeup again. It was great. Yesterday I treated myself and did a little bit of shopping. My favorite store got in my favorite leggings again. They've been sold out forever. You know when it's a good pair of leggings and they just hold everything where they're supposed to and they feel super good and they're the best. I was laughing with Crystal that it's like the mom chic and it's really fun. But let's go ahead and chat real quick. So I am 160 pages in. I'm planning to get through the rest of this today, which keeps happening to me. Like, I keep starting these books early enough, and then I still keep finishing them, like, right before I want to put the video up. That's just how life happens. But that's okay, right? It's okay. We're at the spot right now where we're at my cottage still. And Sophie's just come across Benedict au naturel. And she decides not to look away from him. And he's like, stay right there, Sophie Beckett. If you run, I'm going to chase after you. And I'm not going to stop to put my clothes on. Which is just, it's pretty cute. It makes me laugh. We're at that point where I think he's like just about to kiss her for what he thinks is the first time. So I still like him. He's still determined to get her a job with his mother. But she doesn't want to go back to London because there's people there who could recognize her. Like if she runs into her step family at all, it could be bad. But yeah, I'm excited. I want to like get this finished and get this vlog ready as soon as I can. I did overdo it a little bit filming yesterday because when I talk for the camera, I open my mouth so much wider. So that was my problem. It wasn't that I like can't talk. It's just I try to enunciate and talk better for the camera than I do for people. I actually had a couple friends over last night who I hadn't seen in a while. I made dinner. It was just 4 of us before everything like shuts down again. And it was really good. Mental health wise, I like super needed those people here with me. So that was nice. But they ended up staying until like 1:30 in the morning, which was great too, because I just needed that community feel, right? It was good. But yeah, I'm going to, what do I have to do today? Let's talk about what I have to do today. So I'm actually not going to finish this one first. I am working through a bunch of the audiobooks that I grabbed the other day, because right before my surgery, I like grabbed a bunch of audiobooks, and one of them was my next Tessa Dare. So sorry, this is a sidetrack from that, but I listened to Chasing Cassandra, which is a reread for my end of year reread I'm doing, which was delightful. And then I had decided to pick up the next Tessa Dare in the Spindle Cove. So I only have 2 novellas and 1 regular novella left in that series, which I'm like sad because I love it so much. But man, I love this series. This one has like a criminal hero who is also like was a soldier, and he's so sexy, and it's just his like wants to care for the heroine. And our heroine, she has a birthmark. She's the piano teacher, Kate, in this one, so we've seen her before. And he like knows her from their past, but like she doesn't know him, and so he like doesn't want her to remember that she knows him for reasons. And I don't know, I'm just really liking it. And so I'll probably finish listening to this one because I only have 70 pages left. So I'll probably finish listening to that while I plan a couple videos. I'm planning a couple videos to film for December. I have my poll went out for my channel members to help me choose which video to make next. So while I'm listening to the book, I'm going to plan out those videos. I won't necessarily film them today, but one of the things I've started doing is like, since I started these my new idea notebooks, I've had so many idea notebooks over the years, you know how it is. But Barnes & Noble had these really pretty like number 12 notebooks, which this is the one that I decorated with all my Outlander stuff. And I keep track of all my videos in this. And so when I get an idea, I just start like a blank page with the video title, and then I go through my Goodreads and through lists to see like which books I've read fit into it. So just a little insight, that's how I make my recommendation videos, because I've read thousands of books and it's really hard to just like remember every book like that, right? So yeah, anyway, Offer from a Gentleman still going good. Haven't got to the part where I'm annoyed yet, so that's fine. Tonight is the live show for the Viscount Who Loved Me, so I'm pretty pumped for that. And yeah, I will check in either when I get to the part that's annoying or when I finish. I don't know. We'll see how long it takes. If I end up not finishing this till tomorrow or something too, we'll see. But all right, thanks so much, and I'll check in the next clip. Hey, so we've reached the place, and I'm so furious I had to grab the camera. I knew that it was just about to happen, obviously, because I've read this book a few times, and it's so frustrating to me. Oh, it's so frustrating because Benedict, the whole first half of this book, like exactly half of this book, he's a hero. Like, he is her Prince Charming at this ball, and then 2 years ago, he saves her from being assaulted, and then she saves him from a cold, from dying, and then there's all this sexy banter. He pretends to be sick longer than he's sick so that she's taking care of him, and it's so cute. And then she catches him bathing, which is, I think, where I was at right before I filmed the last clip, right? It's been a few hours, and I went to the Viscount Who Loved Me live show and everything. And then they have their banter back and forth, and he starts kissing her, and he just really, really wants her, and then he asks her. He says he wants her, and she wants him too. And then he makes the mistake of being like, be with me, and she's like, you mean you want me to be your mistress? And now, to be fair to him, he doesn't immediately say, yes, that's exactly what I want. He just wants to be with her. So he's like, be with me. And then he starts to say, like, I'm going to burn this ugly dress you wear. I'm going to buy you beautiful things. I want to take care of you. And I know that in his mind, right? In his mind in this moment, he's not thinking of the implications of this. He's not thinking of the life that he's setting her up for. He doesn't understand that Sophie's the exact wrong woman for him to proposition with this, because she is the daughter of an affair like this, of a mistress, and her whole life has been ruined by her parents having an affair and her being the product of it. And I know he doesn't know that, but gosh, it hurts. And you can feel it on her moment of like, she's like, this is what it is. You know, like she's having that realization of like, I've always wondered like why my mom would say yes to this. And I know why. Like, I know why. I know what it feels like now to have these feelings for someone and to be offered all these wonderful things in exchange for myself. And she just can't do it. And Benedict gets so ugly. Like, he gets so ugly. And it hurts so bad. Because I love Benedict. Like, I know Benedict's a good guy. And I know that, like, in the moment, he just is like, whoa, we were just about to, like, have sex. And now you're, like, throwing these things in my face. But it's literally written in here that, let me find it. Here we go. So she's like, I can't be your mistress. And he's like, well, why is that? And she's like, because I don't want to. And first he's again like, well, you didn't care just a minute ago. And she's like, that's not fair. Like, we're in the heat of the moment. And she's like, but I won't be your mistress. And this is when he gets nasty. And he's like, and what are you going to do instead? He hissed. He fucking hisses at her. He hisses at her because she won't lower herself to being a mistress. He's like, you're going to work as a housemaid? And she's like, if I have to. And he's like, you'd rather wait on people, polish their silver, scrub out their chamber pots, than come and live with me. So he's taking this all against his pride, or like against his, like, he's not manly enough to tempt her. And she's like, yes, I'd rather do that. And he's like, I don't believe you. No one would make that choice. And she's like, I am. And he's like, then you're a fool. He's like, don't you understand what you're giving up? And he's like, I could give you everything you ever wanted. And she's like, if you think that's everything, then you probably wouldn't understand why I must refuse you. And gosh, and then he calls her stupid for not doing it. And he's like, do you know how hard it is for a woman to be on her own? And she's like, yeah, I do. Because that's what I've been doing for the last few years. Like, that's literally where you found me, is I was a woman on my own. So he just calls her unintelligent and he calls her stupid. And then when he realizes that she's illegitimate, he's like, oh my gosh, but I would take care of any children that we had. Which is like, now he's made the parallel that she is a child of such a union. And she's like, you don't understand anything. It's not about whether or not I'm good enough to be your mistress. And he's like, I would take care of any children we have. And she's like, but what about your wife? And he says, I don't have a wife. And she's like, ever? Will you ever have a wife? And he says, that's not a fair question. And she's like, it's more than fair. And I wrote in the margins, I'm like, that's exactly the question. Because he's not asking her to have an affair on someone right now. But if he later needs to have a legitimate wife, he will be asking her to have an affair to cheat on someone later on. So he's like preemptively asking her to cheat, you know. And who's to say whether he would give up his, you know, like we read plenty of books where the man goes and breaks up with his mistress once he's going to marry someone. But now I think when you can see this on the other side of a woman who might be in a position to be someone's mistress, who doesn't start out to want to be someone's mistress, but she falls in love with a man who's unavailable or won't offer to be her husband. And then he's like, I don't want you, you know, to like be this. And she's like, I don't want to be adrift my whole life. And he's like, I'll be your anchor. And she's like, you can't. Because if I'm not married to you, you're not my anchor. You're someone who could cut me loose at any time once you find someone who's good enough to be your wife. And then he threatens her. And he's like, if you won't let me find you a place to work, I'm going to say that you stole from me and get you released into my custody. And she's like, they would hang me for that. And he's like, no, I wouldn't let them. I would get you released into my custody. And she's like, that would be really convenient for you. And he says, I'm only trying to save you from yourself. And this is why, guys, I fucking hate Benedict. I hate him for this part of the book. And I can't even remember if the grovel's good enough. We'll see. But at this place where I am right now, like, this is why Benedict is my least favorite brother and why I hate him. And I wrote in my book, I said, fuck you. Like, for real, fuck you. There's not enough space for me to write how angry I am at you. Because then she's like, okay, fine, you can find me a job. You have threatened me into this place. This woman has been threatened so many times by different people at this point. Her stepmother, one of her stepsisters always holding stuff above her, that Lord Cavendish or whatever. And then at the end, he's like, he thought with grim determination Sophie was not going to leave him. I can live with you hating me, he said to her the closed door. I just can't live without you. So Benedict Bridgerton is a selfish motherfucker, and I hate him. So, it's late at night and I'm pretty passionate about this, but we'll see if the grovel is good enough to pull me out of this, but I don't know what it is. I think it's just that I've read too many mistress tropes in the last 2 weeks. Like, if you've been following my other things, you know I've read a lot of mistress tropes, and in the other ones, the woman, like, wants to be the mistress because they're, like, a working woman, so they're like, I don't want to be tied down to a man, so they're fine, and, like, I'm okay with that, because they usually mutually decide that they want to be together. But if this one, for me, that Benedict's first ask is for her to be his mistress, before he even knows if she's illegitimate or not, because that could have kind of been a reason, but for him to start off with, he's not a first son, he's the spare, his brother, you know, has kids coming, he's not going to have to be the heir. For him to jump right to, I want you to be my mistress, I hate it. I hate him. So there's my rant. I told you it would get ugly at some point. I am on pain meds and I'm really bitchy, so sorry there was just a lot of cussing right there. But I hate him so much. So, woo! There it was. And now we'll see if he can win me back. But I hate him. Yep, I hate him. Hey everybody. So, it's time to wrap up an offer from a gentleman. So, my last clip was pretty passionate, right? I think I probably cut some of the cussing out of it because I don't want to shock some people who maybe aren't, like, used to watching my videos. And I knew that I was going to be pretty emotional. I was / am on a few drugs from my surgery, which today's the first day off of, like, the harder medicine, right? So I'm just on ibuprofen and I am, like, a little bit sore. But that's okay. The whole experience has been way better than I thought it would be. So I'm not, like, you know, it's okay. And I know that some of you might have watched this and been like, wow, that was a little bit, you know, unprofessional, or wow, that was a little bit passionate for what we're talking about. And so if you're new to my channel, hi, maybe you didn't make it this far into the video. That's how it is for me in the moment of reading books a lot. It's one of the reasons why I like doing reading vlogs with you, but I usually do weekly reading now because I end up in these long rants about how books make me feel. And I was talking with Crystal about this, and Crystal actually posted something on her story, her Insta story, about how much books mean to her and like why she takes this really seriously. And it's not that I take this overly seriously. Like, I know that romance isn't, well, not just romance. I mean, I know that reading isn't the life or death for me, but it is something that I'm very passionate about. And as someone who has this platform and, you know, I have multiple people telling me that they immediately buy any book that I recommend. Anything that's a 5-star of mine, they read. And that, of course, makes me excited and flattered and happy. But it also means that I'm always going to be honest about a book that I'm reading. Like, any feelings that I have, I may have given 200 plus books a 5-star this year, but that's because they were an enjoyment and they were fun and they made me feel that way. So that's just a little bit of a side rant. Let's talk about how I felt about this. Obviously, in that, you're maybe thinking that, oh, I just like totally trashed this book and I hate it. And I hope that I articulated that. I was just really offended, particularly by Benedict. Sophie still remains, and even through this whole book, as one of my favorite heroines in this series. This series has a lot of great heroines. And I love Sophie. We get to see her strength. We get to see the struggle of someone who was, through no fault of her own, placed in a lower place in the status of the world. And like, that is hard, man. Like, I can't imagine in a place where women already have no power to then, number one, watch one woman use that power against someone who's helpless and under her care is just vile. Like, it is so vile to watch another woman do that to another woman when you're blaming this child for something that wasn't their fault. You know, like, she didn't choose to be born. You know, Sophie's existence wasn't created to piss off Araminta, but that's how it happens, right? And then number two, for Sophie, to the little power she does have, the beauty that she has, her natural gifts that she has, she finds someone who likes them, who loves them, who wants her, and he's just so oblivious and up his own ass about the power that he has. And, you know, that's a great character trait. Like, that's the thing. This story is well written. I wouldn't be this passionate and care this much if I didn't care, right? The thing that hurts so bad is for the first half of this book, we watch a beautiful romance. Like, we watch the beautiful romance when Sophie has a mask on, and then we watch a beautiful romance when she's a servant for a little bit of time at his cottage, you know, and watch him falling in love again and seeing like, wow, if I choose to love this woman, am I giving up on a chance of having this woman I've been looking for, but she's a phantom. Like, I don't know that I'll ever find her, whereas this person's right in front of me. And the thing that is so entitled and annoying about him is, like, Benedict doesn't even have the thought go through his head of, like, maybe I could marry her. Like, it goes through his head, like, after he's already asked her to be his mistress. And, I mean, that scene just breaks my heart because Benedict is, like, not reading the room. Benedict is not reading the room, and it's so just, like, painful. And then he gets so mean. You know, and we saw in The Viscount Who Loved Me, we see Anthony be a bit mean. But I would argue that a lot of that is in the banter. Like, he gets mean within the banter with Kate, like, maybe takes it one step too far, whereas, like, Kate is just giving it back as hard as he gets. No, Benedict gets angry when his desire gets thwarted. And that may be a reaction, but then he carries it through. And he does still take care of her. So there's that for him. He still is like, I'm going to find you a place, like, I'll bring you to my home. But in doing that, he's purposely keeping her under his power. He threatens her that he will go to the magistrate if she leaves him. And that's all dressed up in he just wants to take care of her because she's too stupid to take care of herself. He actually says that to her. You're too stupid to take care of yourself, so I'm going to threaten you. And it just, like, it stacks up. Like, that wall stacks up. So all that beautiful romance, all that clout that he had gained for me is just gone within one conversation where he gets ugly and he starts hissing at her and yelling at her and calling her names and then threatens her at the end of it. And I just can't. And so then After that scene, after that clip that I filmed, I'm like, okay, now we can start to like fix all this. So he brings her to his mother, who Violet is amazing. I love about this book that we get to spend time with the Bridgerton girls. This is the first time we really get to talk with Francesca. We get to see Eloise. There are quite a few hints about who Lady Whistledown is, in case you don't know. Quite a few hints about that in the beginning parts, like the Whistledown Society papers, which is really fun. And we get to see stuff that's happening with Lady Penwood and with Mrs. Featherington, and that's all very exciting. But Benedict is still like haunting her, and he almost is stalking her. And in times before, I've seen this as romantic, because I don't mind a dark romance now or then, but I couldn't get over the fact, and this is really funny that I'm thinking this, but my friend Melissa just recently tried to read Untouchable, and it didn't work for her, which I don't know if Melissa's watching this review, but Melissa, please, it's totally fine that you didn't like that book. I get it. But there was distinct similarities that were freaking me out that I was seeing in Benedict as Carter. Because it's that same thing of like, you've turned me down and I'm going to pursue you until you give up. And there is, it's supposed to be fun and flirty, but he really is like, think of the power exchange. Like, we talk about power exchange in romance all the time, whereas I'm someone who loves when that dynamic gets messed with. Seeing it in this context, seeing Sophie be powerless because she is a servant who, again, it shows how just dense Benedict is, because I know in his mind he's not thinking, because he's thinking that he would never push her past her saying yes. But like, Sophie doesn't know that. We see her at the beginning almost get raped by the son of her employer. And the first sex scene in this book, she does say yes, but he pushes her to the line and is saying, stop thinking, don't think about it, go with it. It also reminded me a lot of Sorted, which I just read for Taboo Book Club, where the first scene in that is a dubious consent that leads to a rape. This one is a dubious consent that leads to consent, but he's like, don't think about it, just go with what you're feeling. Don't think about it, don't think about it. And then he's pleasuring her, and then she's like, okay, you can take my virginity. And then immediately afterward, he's like, I got her to have sex with me. She's my mistress now. Let me go get your stuff. And she's like, well, now you're forcing me to say that this is a mistake, when it could have just been, we had one night of pleasure together. So anyway, so we get through all of that. It's not great. Sophie now feels like she needs to leave because he's never going to stop pursuing her. And then he has the conversation with her where he's like, I can't marry you. You're a bastard, which is everything she's feared. He doesn't even think about like, I just don't know how it could work. He's like, I would take care of any children that we had. And she's like, that's not the point. The point is that the child would be a bastard and it wouldn't matter. And if you marry someone else, which is exactly the life that she's lived, he's so dense. It takes him so long to get to the point with this one. Whereas I feel like in this book, if he had been there, like if he had be like, I see what your fears are. I realize that, these are the things that we could do. He also doesn't even try to pull out the first time they have sex. And then immediately is like, well, you could be pregnant. It could be too late. And it's like, you pushed her into this knowing what her fears were. And then it's just like, too bad. And I'm like, I don't know what else to say. Like, Benedict is a dick. So then, okay, the one thing that this book does, though, that I do love is that this has the conversation with Violet. So Benedict finally feeling like, oh, there's no way out of this. He's decided that he wants Sophie. So he goes to his mother and is like, would you support me if I was with someone? And Violet kind of already knows who it is because she's been watching her son show up every day and stalk the lady's maid around. And she says, yes, I would support you. But now Sophie's already left, and then Araminta, and then he has his grand gesture, which is claiming her as his fiance in the jail cell. If I was her, I wouldn't have even wanted to be his fiance after this, because what any indication that this man is going to listen to your wants and needs? And I highlighted at least 15 times that every time they were having an issue, he would be like, well, what about me? Me. This is a self-centered asshole. And I even, like, Sophie even calls him on it about him being, like, so aloof, because she's like, you know, your brother, he's responsible. Like, he thinks about other people than himself, because he is the head of the family and he had to think about all of you guys. And Benedict is just like, this whole thing is Benedict having, like, a midlife crisis and being a whiny bitch. Okay? He's a whiny bitch. Sophie's the best part of this book. The Bridgerton women are the best part of this book. And I just couldn't get behind this romance the whole time. So when he claims her and, like, they, you know, make fun of, or you know, they shame Lady Penwood and are like, you've actually been stealing from her, and Posey comes up with all the information, like, it all comes together fine. Posey gets, like, adopted by the Bridgertons, basically, which I do love. We get to see Posey again for sure. And then it's over. And we did not have Benedict grovel enough for how little and small he made her feel. And, you know, Sophie doesn't really have a choice. Like, she's ruined either way. And, I mean, she is in love with him. Like, gosh, what is one of the scenes, man? Like, this whole thing was just heartbreaking. Like, I just felt for Sophie so much, because Benedict is such an ass. And even once he has his revelation, I'm just like, yeah, you should have had this revelation so long ago. So this one was hard for me. I'm sorry, this one's kind of a downer. I promise I don't feel this way about, like, any of the rest of the books, at least that I can remember. But as I've, like, said at the beginning of this clip, like, I'm always going to be honest how I feel. And you may read this book and not see it the same way as me. After reading this book 4, 5, 6 times that I have, it has become one that I dread, which I never did. I know it was the last time I read it that I bumped it down a star, and this time I bumped it down another star. So I did change my 4-star rating to a 3-star rating for this one, because I just can't get behind Benedict. Like, he doesn't have the same reasons for being so aloof that the other two guys do. Simon has childhood trauma. Anthony has childhood trauma. Benedict is being a snooty, stuck-up, entitled, selfish little rich boy. And I do love that Violet tells him that. She's like, you and your brothers are really privileged, and I don't think you understand what it feels like to not be. I like that she calls to the effect that Violet herself was a wallflower, and that's why she has her sons dance with the Featherington, dance with Penelope, because she has a lot of, like, kinship with her. But still, I don't think he learned his lesson well enough, and then he gets the girl at the end, and he didn't have to give up anything because his family is going to support her. So he had to struggle not at all to get his love. He didn't have to overcome anything to get his love, and Sophie had to, you know, she gets her fairy tale. Again, that's why I love it, is that Sophie's ending up with someone who decided to marry her even though she was a bastard. So I love Sophie, and I'm in this for Sophie. But Benedict, he needed to be in the doghouse or in cold storage for a while. Like, he needed that. Like, I almost wanted there to be another gentleman who remembered Sophie from the ball and was like, I'll marry you if you're a bastard. I don't care. You're beautiful and smart and I want you. To, like, yeah, Benedict, you can be alone. So anyway, that's my review for this. I hope this vlogging experience was fun for you. I, like, have to edit this now, and I'm sorry that I wasn't perkier, but I'm still on a sick day from work, and I'm going to start reading Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and that vlog is going to be lots of fun, guys. So thank you so much for watching this. I do want to say a welcome and thank you to my newest patron, Kathleen. It took me a while to get it in a video because a lot of my videos were pre-filmed, so I didn't get to, but Kathleen, thank you so much for joining. You have been a faithful watcher of my channel for a long time, and it means so much to me. So thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video.